The 7th of November 2017, a title challenge scuppered by a typhoon and another weekend hampered by engine problems. It has been quite the spell for JeepUpdate.net driver columnist Pierre. In his latest entry, Pierre reflects on a difficult couple of events, and looks ahead to the remaining 2 Formula One races of the campaign. Hi everyone, I'm writing to you from home in France, getting set to fly out to Brazil. Just before my last column I was getting ready to compete in the Super Formula finale at Suzuka, but you know what happened with the typhoon. It was really strange weekend. I went there really motivated and excited to finish the job with my team and finish the year and fight for the title, because there was only half-point difference with the leader, so everything was possible. But in the end we didn't have any fight. We only had one qualifying session, and in 20 minutes we had like 8 red flags during this session. I was going for pole twice, with the best first and second sector, and then coming in the third sector there were red flags, so I could not finish the lap. In the end my best lap was a warm-up lap. It was like we didn't have any qualifying, then they decided to cancel the races after that. It's really strange. For me it feels like I haven't really finished the championship, as the last time I was in the car was for a qualifying session and we didn't finish it properly, so it feels a bit weird. However, I enjoyed it out there during the season, not just as a driver, but also just to go there and to discover a new world. It was good for me and a good experience. Hopefully I will keep only good memories about it, except this last weekend. It's not every day that you have a race cancelled due to a typhoon. I just feel a bit sorry for the team and for Honda as well, as we wanted to fight to the end and we didn't have this last battle. But overall it was a positive season, and that's what we need to remember. Then it was on to Mexico, and it just kept going. The bad luck, I kept it with me from Japan to Mexico. It was quite unbelievable in Mexico, all the issues we had. I think with the altitude there, you are 2,000 meters above sea level, so for the engine it's much more difficult in terms of settings. Unfortunately, I could not do FP1 because Shangelo was in the car, so it was a shame, as it was the first time I was going to drive in Mexico. Then in FP2, straight out of the box, we had some issues with the engine, a problem with power on the straight, and also big drivability problems, so I did 2 laps, then after we drove slowly to try to resolve it. In the end we lost the turbo, so we had to stop the session, and that was it for us. The team changed the engine for FP3, then on the first push lap I did the first 2 sectors, and coming into the last sector we lost the turbo again, so another issue. They changed the engine for qualifying, but there wasn't enough time to put it back in the car, so no qualifying. I went into the race with 2 push laps from FP2, which for me, I couldn't even get anything from it, as it was pretty bad in terms of drivability. In FP2, we did the race, but we had no clue about the setup, about the tire degradation, about how the car would feel, so we went into the race with a kind of blind view on it, and in the end we tried to make the best out of it. I think it was decent. We were lacking some pace in the race, and it was difficult, as after all the engine issues we had, we were really safe on the engine mode, and it made our race pretty difficult, but we finished 13th. I'm lucky to be one of the Renault drives to finish the race anyway. I need to take this experience with me for the coming races, but I hope we can have smoother races in Brazil and Abu Dhabi. I hope for Brazil that we can have some tricky conditions like last year. Brazil is where we're most affected by power, so we know it's going to be quite tough for us compared to the Williams, with the Mercedes engine, or Force India, and the Haas cars are pretty fast in the straight too. We know on paper it's not really good for us, but if it's wet, and if the conditions are tricky, there will be some opportunities and anything can happen, so let's see how it goes. It looks like it's going to be wet, and that's good for us. Then we have Abu Dhabi, and it's a track I really like, and hopefully it is a track that will suit our car a bit better, and we'll be in a position to fight for a point in one of the 2 last races. Of course the target is to drive as much as possible, and a fight for a top 10 would be really good. It's now been a few weeks since I became an F1 driver, and life has changed a little bit. I have much more missed calls when I'm back in my hometown now, when I go to the normal places. For example, on Sunday I went to play football with my friends. Some people came to me and said, you're the new Formula One French driver, it's good, and they're talking about it, so people know a bit more about me now. But in life it's still the same. When I go back home I still see my parents and they treat me the same way, and we still having the same dinners, and yeah. Of course, there are more things to organize, that's one of the main things to deal with, and there are more people. It's not easy to deal with all of these things. When I'm back home I still play Formula One games when I can. Life has changed a little bit, but in the end I'm still the same person now. On to Brazil, and bring on the rain until next time. Pierre.